Okay, hello again, viewers. My name is Sidney Winston. I am an atheist activist out of Vancouver, Canada. This is an open discussion room, sort of an impromptu one with not much notice. So I am going to give this a shot. See how long it takes for anyone to actually come in. This might be a total failure of here, let me just bring you into the room itself. This is the room. This is the open chat room. I'm going to show you how I'm going to prove that. I'm going to be switching off a couple of things like this and this, see? And now I'm in the room. So anybody who joins the room will be listening to me through here until such time as anyone does join the room. I think I will keep myself on the screen like this. Because we are waiting for anyone to join, the discussion is no data. Why are you getting no data? I'm getting a signal that no data is going through. Why would that be? It's very strange. Oh, there we go. I think we're back. So this is a kind of a new one to me, opening up a room and actually keeping it open and waiting until someone comes in. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll keep it open. The discussion is indoctrinating Christianity into children is child abuse. That's the topic. Now, Jesus is Lord, one of the viewers from the prior video, he wanted to talk about it, I believe. So I'll wait for him or anybody else. And I think what I'm going to do, is while we wait, we do not wait in silence. That's what my favorite motto is. So, we wait.
Morning.
Hello, good timing.
Yes.
Brilliant, brilliant timing because the song just ended, or that little piece that I was playing just ended as you
That was
joined.
nice. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it was kind of calming.
It's-
Waiting for action. So good morning. How's the temperature on your side of the world closest to the sun?
It's 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 gotten a lot cooler. There's a nice breeze. It's the coolest it's been all week.
Yeah, yeah. So far today, it's hanging in at 20 degrees, which is a far far lower
Well, you're
temperature.
around more buildings. If I
Your Wi-Fi is cutting in and out. Let me have a look at the chat. See if anyone is yelling at us, screaming at us.
not yet.
Okay, let's go have a look. God equals the square root of -1 is back. Good morning. Crypta. Good morning. See, if Crypta doesn't hear me, I can always text her through the the
So
YouTube chat.
um
What?
did you have like pieces together or just a general talk
When? Right now?
today?
Oh, right now,
Yeah.
essentially, okay. Earlier, I played a
Yeah.
commentary
I woke up
video.
late. I
I
didn't
don't know
see
if you
it.
watched it, but it was an atheist ex-Christian educator. So he was explaining how educating Christians from young age, etc., works. And I find it to be child abuse. In fact, the way he explained it, it was very much indoctrination, which essentially
It
is
is.
abuse of the mind, right? So
Yep.
Jesus is Lord was in the side chat earlier, and he said something like, so what if it's child abuse? You think other things aren't? Do you think atheist thinking isn't child abuse, or something like that? I don't know. So I
Oh,
said, well, come on in, let's have a chat. Let's
if I'm here, he won't come in.
let's talk about it. And then I decided that, well, I kind of opened up a room. I said I was going to open up a room. Any interest? Nobody wanted to come in. So I said, okay, I'll end it and then I'll open up a conversation room. And then you can come back in and we can chat about child abuse, Christianity. And that's where we left it, pretty much.
Well, I agree with you that I think it is child abuse. I didn't grow up with religion forced on me. Like,
Yeah, he
we
also
never went to
explains
church. We never went to Sunday school. We only went, like, if we went to see grandma.
if you went to see Grab.
So,
Nick Jones, welcome. Good morning. It astounds me that more isn't made about Christians' indoctrination of innocent children, disgustingly yelling them they're born sinners deserving of torture in a hell they can't demonstrate. That is disgusting.
it is.
Yeah.
Like, kids grow up with enough confusion about negativity and putting this extra layer of guilt on them. Like,
Well,
you,
well,
you
the way,
know,
if you watch the video from before, it was more of a gentle way of indoctrinating children through education, and he went through it systematically. So I wanted to comment on that. If you missed that, we could do a review. But let's just talk about Christian child abuse. It's enough that we have that topic to keep us
I
going.
think there's quite a bit under.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how my mom grew up.
Tell me about your mom.
She wasn't allowed, even though she was raised Anglican, she wasn't allowed to date. She wasn't allowed to wear jeans. And this was in the 60s. Everyone was... Grandma was raising her to be a nun.
No, don't say that. Why?
No, she was. Because that was the thing. Every family had one that went to the church.
Are you kidding? Wait, what country was this in?
Canada.
Canada? That's my country you're talking about.
Church. This was in the Anglican Church. It's basically Catholics with condoms. That's all it is.
So where about in Canada was all this happening?
Alberta. So it's very much
okay.
the Bible Belt. Yeah, you kind of understand. You're gonna...
As soon as you said Alberta, you're okay.
It's I understand that. Why we have the Rockies between us.
That's horrible. That's just horrible. I feel so sorry for your mother.
Well, she went to New Age, and I think it really changed her perspective. She never really believed it.
Yeah, but to become a nun, imagine having to go to sleep every night thinking, I've got to wake up tomorrow morning and go to some more training. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not a choice. And she's still got to go through poor chick. Did she rebel?
No, she wanted to be an accountant, but the only program was in Red Deer, so she could move to Calgary. Yeah, total rebel.
Well, I'm glad she didn't become a nun. Otherwise, I'd have no one to talk. I'd have no one to talk to on this street.
But I see it when I was attending church, where there would be this heavy sermon, and all the kids would be around, and so part of me is I'm trying to concentrate. Could you shove them into the other room? They're not listening. This isn't kids can sit still for so long, and then
kids don't listen to sermons. Simple. Well, maybe the odd one does, but certainly as a rule, we don't listen to sermons.
And then they'll slip in something like, homosexuality is a sin. Homosexuality is evil. It's a sin as bad as murder to kids. So they're growing up with this idea that homosexuals are the evilest thing on the planet, and they're not they can't broadcast their messages in Canada, but they can sure as hell sit in a room and teach children this level of hate. But it's their right as Christians. This is what they believe. Well, you look at the residential schools now. I mean... Okay. I was confused. It doesn't take me much.
No, I gambled and lost.
Yeah, I know. I suck.
So I gambled that if I went to grab some coffee and I just muted, then you just keep on talking, and I wouldn't be missed.
It's early. I'm not quite awake.
I understand that, although I've been awake since 5 o'clock. Oh, I tell you something, we went out at 5 o'clock.
Well, I got up at 4, and then I played video games till 6.
No, we went out at 5
And
because
then I got up
I
again.
got my dog, right? So
Yeah.
we went out at 5, and it was so nice and cool. Man, it was like oh, I'm back in Canada. It was lovely.
Well, next week's even going to get more. It almost looks like a lava lamp coming
No,
out from the.
I'm I'm gonna send a satanic curse to the universe to stop this crazy weather.
Yes. Yes, you use your skills.
I'll do what I can, all right? I am limited.
Yeah.
So Jesus is Lord. Is he in the side chat? He is not. Let me go look. Let me have a look. All right. No, but Nick Jones is. Have you met Nick Jones? No, neither have I. So, in terms of child abuse and wrecking a child's mind like Christians do, how would you, where would you put Catholics who not only wreck children's minds, but they kind of kill them and bury their mistakes in the schoolyard? The Catholics do in Canada by the hundreds.
I don't know how their ministry will be able to fix this, or
I doubt they will. Well, you know what? The pressure has to be kept on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the problem is a lot of people, oh, well, residential schools are an old thing. It's not our problem anymore. But the last school closed in 1996.
If that was the case, then all these toppling of statues of old racists, that's an old thing. That's not our problem anymore. But they're still holding them accountable. Mm-hmm. So we still got to hold the Catholics accountable.
Oh yeah. I think though overall, more Canadians are just becoming secular. It's
well, yeah, but the Catholic institution has to
still pretty big, but
has to be almost like an antitrust. It's got to be broken up or eliminated.
Yeah. Well, that's I can't actually argue with you. As a Christian, I'd like to, but I can't.
Okay, well, let's talk about you being a Christian. I'm a little bit confused about that. What makes you? Well, what is it, according to you, that are the absolute axioms, the non-debatables that you accept in order to be a Christian?
Well, I'm probably a poor example because it never mattered until until a few years ago.
I'm not talking about what everybody else thinks. I'm talking about your personal journey to Christianity.
I've had a few things in my life I cannot explain, and it's involved the church. So, if I could explain them better, I'd call myself something else.
Well, I don't know. The only reason that you can't explain it better is because you're filling in the gap with God.
That's probably true. Yes.
Right, and God is just like a temporary filling on a tooth. So if you want to fill the tooth with a permanent filling, you need to get rid of the temporary filling and put in a permanent filling, which I can provide for you. As long as I understand how God got into the position of being the temporary filling in your tooth.
But it's not like I force it on anyone.
I'm not. Yeah, but you see, all you're doing is deflecting my questions with guilt. You know, I'm not this and I'm not that. But I just trying to find out from you personally. When you say I'm a Christian, okay, that obviously comes from a place of pride of some sort. When I hear somebody say they're a Christian, I feel a little ill. So we have some chasm between us that I don't understand why you are and you don't understand why I am. But the best way for me is to understand how anyone, after all the evidence is in, can become a Christian, unless what it is to be a Christian is different to every single person.
I think that's part of it too. Like growing up, I didn't really, it was God was in the sky, God loves you, you go there when you die, don't worry about it.
Okay, I got that. That's the Jewish God. That's the Jewish God or the Muslim God.
Maybe I'm agnostic. I don't know. Maybe agnostic is a better term.
No, it's not.
Because I do believe in a God. I do believe in a higher force, a higher power.
That's right, you're a theist.
I don't necessarily look at it the way it is in the Bible, because the Bible is so limited in knowledge.
The Bible's just literally, the Bible's just fantasy.
It's mythology.
It's historical. It's fiction with historical background.
I don't know. Maybe doing a lot of peyote really affected me.
But peyote doesn't get you to Jesus. You specifically say that you're a Christian. Now, what is it that makes Jesus God in your perception?
Well, see, I never really I always got mad in church because I thought Jesus was this middle guy, and we couldn't actually talk to God. And so I was mad about that. But it's like God is so big, he had to come down as Jesus. But Jesus as a mythological character is kind of a dick, which is probably why I like him. He's sarcastic. He's kind of
Well, there's a lot of other dick gods in, if you're gonna look for gods that are dicks, that you could follow. If you like the rebellious god or whatever, then gods of war, gods of sin, gods of gluttony might be more your. I certainly would go for those. The god of wine, a god of laziness, whatever.
I guess too, because being so involved in church for 2.5 years, that's all I started associating myself with.
So it's really the association of the church, not so much that you. When you say you're a Christian, you're not saying you're a Christian because Jesus Christ speaks to you in the shower every day. It's because of the community, the church community. Correct? Not correct?
I don't know. I'm so confused now. And you've got me at a really time where I am that confused. I don't know. I know what's in my heart. I just don't know how to explain it, when I'm put on the spot.
Well, assume you're not on the spot. Assume you have all the time in the world. and assume you start explaining it, and assume you don't quite make a good job of it. It doesn't matter. You could still try. You could still give it your best.
Oh, I guess I don't know where to start.
Yeah, well, just expect to fuck it up. Expect to make an absolute hash of it. And okay, well, I tell you what. Um, when this
Maybe I can't call myself Christian. Maybe I shouldn't call myself Christian. You know,
okay, carry on.
I just it was I never needed a term before. I could always say, well, I'm spiritual, or I'm, this. But then when I really started in the Pentecostal church, being so, like, everything is about the Bible. Your whole life is about the Bible. Like, from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep, you're trying to, like, just focus on Jesus, focus on God, and you get lost. Like, I can see people get sucked into these things because you're around it so much. You stop questioning, and you start just saying what they tell you, believing about yourself what they tell you. And that's what I've been trying to get out of. Like, I can physically tell the congregation, I'm done with you, but I still have to deprogram my head. So I don't mean to come at you angrily sometimes. It's just I'm coming from kind of a hurt place.
You're frustrated.
Yeah.
Perhaps, if I may add, knowing you just a little bit the way I do, is perhaps you don't give yourself enough time when you get a thought like that in your head that you need to ponder over. Perhaps you rather put it behind you than ponder over it. Would I be right? You'll come back to it.
I think sorry, that wonderful signal.
Yeah, I heard you.
Hello.
I think. What'd you say?
Sorry, my signal's going. I think right now it's just being out of that environment, having people like going through TED Talks, going through your videos, going through other humanist videos, like just get all that out of my head, get back to where I was.
The more people that you watch who have turned towards rationalism, the more it'll embolden you to recognize that this is exactly the way you're naturally swinging based on your intellect. And I don't know, maybe you're trying to fight it because it's, you're having such a good time the way you are now, and you're in fear that it'll change somehow for the worse. I don't know. Am I right? I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
It's literally deprogramming. It is like, I know everything you are saying is true. It's just getting it.
Well, the way you deal with, for example, if you have a narcissist in your life who he's trying to control you, there's nothing you can do. The best remedy is just to get the fuck out of there. No contact with a narcissist. That's the remedy. The only remedy that'll work, be honest. And then I think it's kind of the same way that you need to approach your personal challenge here. No contact with the church, and either it'll fix it or it'll be the same. But at
Okay.
least you'll have tried something. And you can go back to the church. Because they won't miss you. Because the Christians don't give a fuck about anyone. They just want your money.
That is true. I find it disgusting how they're like, oh, you only need the new covenant. You just need these 2 laws. But then we have to go back to the Old Testament so you can give us your 10%.
God.
Yeah, and then we have to go through all the commandments because those are still important. And are you wearing mixed fibers? Oh, what the hell?
God, no.
You know?
Jesus Christ, really? Next
The only,
Friday.
like, the biggest change I found was I'm calmer. Like, I'm not, and I don't know if that's church or just being forced into an environment where I can't be, you know, like in pub mode.
Well, maybe it's good for you then.
I could have found a reading group or, something else. I just needed that group.
Well, is it for the chat? Is it for the conversation that you joined a church group? I mean, do you sit there and talk to people in church and feel this is the thing I want to do?
I felt awkward. Because a friend of mine, when I started church, it was kind of a dare. It wasn't a dare, it was a challenge. Like, oh, well, you've been trying all this. You've been trying Satan. Why don't you try Jesus? Just try it. Just go and try it. And I think I just wanted to impress him or, oh, well, it's not a big deal. Oh, yeah. And then I just ended up getting so sucked in.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Maria.
Hello, Maria.
Hello.
You know Maria?
I think so.
We'll get an audio check from Maria in 1 second, hopefully. You're on mute right now, Maria.
Yeah. Well, I just gonna grab a coffee quick, Sid.
Fair enough. I'll try and get through to Maria. Maria Louisa is here. And Maria Louisa is muted. Which is why I'm not on... oh, we've got people coming in here. All right. Hello, everybody. We are doing mic checks, audio checks for everybody. We have Roberto Vieira. Hello, Roberto. Ah, that's Maria. Maria had an unmuted moment. All right. Now Roberto has left to be replaced by Felipe Silva. I think these are trolls. What do you think?
Yep. Kind of.
Yeah. Maria's definitely a troll.
Yep. Yep.
Felipe, how you doing, Felipe? You're muted. Hello, Geo Sam. Good morning, good day. The African Humanist will be joining us in a bit. Felipe doesn't seem to want to play nicely.
No.
So he's going to go bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Felipe. Okay, we're back. Uh-oh. Who could this be? This is Layla. Oh, Felipe's back. Layla de Paula and Felipe Silva. Looks like the whole of Brazil's joining us. That's very nice.
CPF cancelado.
Ele resolveu trocar tiros com o Bop! Será que Adriano vai ter missa de sétimo dia?
What is this?
Senhores, o Bop é uma peça fundamental na nossa...
What is that? All right. I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to get rid of these fake people. Fake people. Go. All right, there you go. All right, so let's get back to the room itself. Sorry. Remove. Deny. Oh, I'm getting bombed here.
Yeah, you are.
Is it cool?
Is it a troll fest?
Looks like
Yeah.
it. Well, this is
Hello,
interesting. I'm learning how these things work here.
I wouldn't be surprised if all these people are Christians.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Christian is a hate cult. But welcome, Esther.
Thank you. Hello,
Welcome.
Crypto Maria.
Hello.
Did you watch the previous video on the child abuse?
I did. Yes, I did.
What say you?
It's interesting because they start them young. That was something the gentleman said. Start them early. You start the brainwashing early.
That made an
really
impact on me, man. Wow.
Yes. And I completely agree with that because I was a child in the Christian religion, taken to church, never understanding all these things, and we used to have movie night, right?
Oh, yeah?
And movie night as a child,
Yeah.
trust me, did not consist of any Disney films or children films. No.
Yeah.
Movie night meant we were taken to church and we would go and watch things like The Burning Hell,
Right.
and what was the other one? Pilgrim's Progress, and all these movies showing you what's going to happen in hell.
Oh,
Show
really?
Yes.
Very informative.
Graphic, very graphic and very frightening as a little child to watch all these things that are going to happen to people who don't believe in Jesus. And when the movie's done, they would make an altar call. They're inviting people after watching this very frightening thing. They'll call you to come out if you want to give your life to Christ. And every time I would always go out because I needed to give my life to Christ over and over again. Just never felt good enough. And the
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so we have audio from you. Okay. Hello, England. Come in, England.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There we go.
Okay.
You're back.
After after watching those movies, I'll go home and I can't sleep. I suffered really bad insomnia as a child because of those movies. So I could relate with that gentleman when he was talking. I you know, I'm glad that my children haven't got to go through that. I'm honestly happy that I haven't got to pass that cycle on. And when they say Jesus loves you, oh yes, he loves you, but he's you're going to burn in hell if you don't believe. And these things are taught to children. It's
It's
barbaric.
toxic.
It is very toxic.
It's
And
irresponsible.
it is. And do you know, Sydney, what I was thinking just before I came on, which I was going to share with you guys?
Hmm.
While I was a Christian, at no point, there was never a point where I felt good enough for God. There was
Yeah.
never a point where I felt like if Jesus was to come now, I'm going to go to heaven.
Do you
Or if I
think?
was to die now, I
Hmm.
would go to heaven.
Do you think there would have ever been a time at the time that
There,
you?
there was never going to be such a thing. And ask Christians, do you feel good enough for God? I can.
You can be. You can be. You can lose your signal.
Well, I kind of felt like that. Like the more I didn't feel like it before church. I just thought God would love me and I was awesome.
So when were you introduced to God, and how?
Well, like I never didn't have this concept, but when I joined the Pentecostal church,
But you were an adult at the time.
yeah, but I see if it affects me like this, what does it do to kids?
Thank you. This is where I'm
You know?
going. This is where I'm going.
If someone who is as educated and strong as me can start believing some of this bullshit, what is it doing to kids? And I see how messed up these kids are getting because they're isolated. They're being told you can't play with all these other kids. They're going to hell. We're coming up in the rapture, so you got to isolate yourselves. In this branch, women weren't allowed pants. So these girls are growing up through high school, already, which is already awful in this other category, which I don't think is fair. Like, you're not giving your chance. And some of these people, they grew up normally. I will say
Well, don't
normally, not
forget
in
that
church.
the African humanists grew up in the Christian culture
Hmm.
and kept going for 4 decades of Christian culture while fighting it for 2 decades, I think. Esther, am I right?
Yeah, not exactly 2 decades, but about 2 decades. I would say about
Okay.
no about not nearly 2 decades, about 15 years.
Okay, 1.5.
Sydney.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, 15 years.
Yeah, so we've got 2 situations here in this room. We've got Esther, who is basically born into Christianity and suffered as a Christian or up until her awakening. And then we got Crypta, who obviously was not born into Christianity, but has somehow found herself stumbling into it at a later age.
Well, Anglicans are Christian, okay? But it just, we were so secular.
That's
You know, it didn't
that's what
matter.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You were secular in that Christianity didn't rule your life, whereas Esther, who was Christian, had her life ruled for her.
It's like when I hear your story, Esther, it's like what my mom went through. So similar parallels. I'm glad you're happy now. You know, everyone deserves to be happy, and you didn't sound like you were happy before.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask Sydney a question?
Absolutely.
Sydney, why do you do what you do? Why do you highlight the ills of religion, Christianity, and all that? What you do? I think you consider yourself an atheist activist.
Right.
I saw a meme, right? Just 1 second. Let me try and find this meme. I saw a meme saying that atheists, how they claim to not believe that this thing they don't believe in is unreal, but they spend their days and nights talking about this thing that's not real, but yet they invest so much time. I found it now. It says atheists, the only people dedicated to fighting what they swear does not exist. Right? After coming away from religion, I am passionate about it. I feel something. It's like going to sleep and waking up, and I'm thinking, I've got to say something. I've got to put something out there on my social media feed. Just there's something. There's a burning just desire. I want people to realize that it is all a farce. Doesn't Most of the stories and the things we thought were real, they were not real. They're not true. You people are being misguided, you know.
And it's not even that. To me,
then,
it's not the stories. It's the it's the direction.
And then
the
I've been told by people, oh, since you left the religion, why not just go away and not say anything about it? Just keep your mouth shut.
You should say stuff about it.
So I just wanted to know from you, Sydney, why do you do what you do? What drives your because it can't be easy waking up every day just wanting to do this. So what gives you the drive to do it, and what's the driving force?
Sometimes, have you ever known how sometimes when everybody's doing one thing or talking about one thing or believing one thing or something, you know, they're all drawn towards one thing, and sometimes and like you, the crowd is going one way, and you kind of figuring, well, hold on, there's something wrong. This doesn't, you know, there's no reason for the crowd to go that way that I can figure out. Well, I feel that way.
Right.
And I've always felt that way because I grew up in a country that was very Christian, very religious, and that religion, a terrible, terrible religion. It's called Dutch Reformed Christianity. The Dutch Reformed Church is a very, very racist, white racist church.
Yeah.
Which pretty much ran South Africa, the country in which I grew up in. So
I've heard people say that good can come from religion. I agree.
Oh,
There
well,
might
show
be
me.
good
Show me.
can
Show
come.
me.
Good can come, but at what cost?
Show me which of
At
those
what-
graves in the residential schools of these kids who were slaughtered by the Catholic Church. Tell me which of those graves is can I see some good from? Which of those 1,000 graves can I see some good from? Any one?
Well, it's just like they didn't even mark them. They just
Okay, there's something I have
like
to say.
if you're
There's something-
Christian, you mark a grave. Like I don't. That part boggles my mind. And then, but then they didn't even keep records on these kids.
Okay, this is what
Sorry, I'm upset about it.
You have every right to be, but this is what gets me. I don't believe that there's a God. Okay, everybody knows I don't believe there's God, and most people poo-poo me. How dare you not believe that there's a God? Blah blah blah. But it has been proven to me by Christians that there is no God, and it's been proven to me by lay Christians and very, very educated, higher up Christians. And that is, if there was a God, and every Christian believed that this God really existed because, hell was an option if you don't toe the line, then they would toe the line. They'd live their doctrine. They wouldn't transgress. They wouldn't put them in a position of going to any hell, which, as you know, is rather frightening. Yet, at the same time, we have droves of Christians committing heinous crimes against fellow human beings, especially the young defenseless human beings that they have either authority or control over. And if there was a God, none of these people, not one of them, would transgress these laws against their own God, which is 100%. They're really, if that God 100% existed, and they're gonna molest a child, knowing they're gonna go to hell, then they're not gonna molest a child. But they still molest a child. Therefore, they know there is no God, there is no hell. They don't care. Why should you? Why should we? So this proves to me that even within Christianity itself, they do not believe in their God, simply by their actions. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I'm just looking at Nick Jones's answer in the chat, saying we're not fighting against a God we don't believe in. We're fighting against the religion that spreads the evil message of hating the children in the society. And I agree with that. I agree. And somebody said to me,
well, he's right. You spread the evil message of hate in children's society. That's the, you don't love God, you're going to hell. You have a bad thought, you're going to hell. If it's fear, he's right.
Someone said to me that what you're doing is pointless. That some people are bound to carry on believing, whether you speak or you don't speak, no matter how hard you try, people will still believe in Jesus. They'll still believe in God. They'll still believe. And I get that. I do. But then it only takes just that one word, just that one statement, just the one sentence that would make somebody just stop and question, stop and ask, well, why exactly am I doing or believing what I'm believing? So I feel very passionate, and I will carry on speaking. Sorry, Crypta.
No, I was just going to say, what you do and what Sydney does is so important because it does get people to think. It makes them stop and really think about, especially if you are in the church, you're so ingrained in it. You know what it's like. You have these blinders on. And sometimes you just need that little thing outside your vision, and it's like, what was that? Maybe I should take these off and check it out. So thank you so much for everything you're doing. Never doubt that you aren't doing something amazing.
You hear that, Esther? Well done. You're making an impact already.
Oh, thank you. No, it's good to see people like yourselves and to like people in the chat, Geo Sam. I usually see him in the chats. I mean, it can be very lonely to when you live in a place where everybody's religious
Uh-huh.
and everybody believes in a God. You stick out like a sore thumb. You're like the black sheep. Nobody wants to speak to you. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to hear you speak. But then you can see that these people are being. I mean, I, I don't know if any of you saw the video what I did yesterday on my channel. Um, a chicken, a cock.
Yes, I watched the chicken one. That was so funny.
Are people believing that the cock is actually
I actually heard
passing
him.
on
I
a
heard that
message?
chicken. I actually heard that chicken pray Allah, ooh, whatever the other one was. Allah Dalla. I swear I heard it. I'm confirming that cleric. He's
Oh no, I was in stitches.
Hello,
I was
Gio.
in
Yeah.
stitches when I saw that
I
video.
know, I could see. You're trying to hold yourself back.
Hey, Gio Sam.
Hey, Gio. It's funny.
My lights. My
So
lights are on my. Can you hear me? Got
We can
we
audio?
hear you
can
just fine, yeah.
we can hear you and
Perfect.
we can see you just
Oh,
fine.
hi.
Sydney,
Mm.
please watch out. Your dog might have a message from God to you, so please listen. When your dog is barking, your dog might just be saying something to you. Okay.
Indeed. Thank you for this enlightening morning message. I will keep my ears peeled for the bark of the dog and the message therein.
Right. Good.
Hmm.
What's up, Gio?
Well, you said something earlier uh, that I think you African humanists, so you agreed. I didn't agree with it, but I forgot what it was, so I guess it's not too important.
Oh, I was talking about what Nick Jones said. I was saying that I agreed. Um, when he said, "We're not fighting against a God we don't believe in, but we're fighting against a religion that spreads the evil message of hating and children in the society." Was it that one?
Yeah, there was more nuance to it, but yeah, I think that's basically what it was. I yeah, I can't. Uh, I don't know. I think it's kind of like you ever meet Christians that like they seem like really happy and
Yeah.
content with themselves, like and they say, oh, and God is love, and everything's is love and happiness and
Mm,
sweetness and kindness, and but there's the flip side to this. But let me just make the point that they're not looking at the things that we normally look at when we say, oh, this is atrocious, or oh, this is terrible. They don't see that. They don't see that at
mm-hmm.
all, or it just dismissed in their own minds. They're just compartmentalize whatever the word is.
I think they're just faking it.
No,
Because when they
Sydney,
get
I don't think
home
they're
and
faking it.
their life and they're the real people and
No,
then they have arguments with
Mm.
their family and they're not Christian anymore.
But it's
I
a
when I
mindset.
was
It's a
when I was
mindset.
a Christian, when I was a Christian, if you had told me the things that I know now, I would have refuted and said, no, you're sent by the devil to come and confuse me. You're an agent of darkness, and don't say those things. I spoke to someone today, and they told me that some of the things are not there for us to understand. They're for us to just believe that God is a mysterious God. Because I was asking how he could sit there and tell me Jesus died for my sin what kind of person is he that worships a God that thinks it's okay to sacrifice their only child? And then he said, some of these things are mysterious and they're not there for us to understand.
Yeah, but if we're
These
the
things-
reason that God exists, then why should he be mysterious?
well, that's what he said, and
No,
he
that's my
couldn't
question.
understand. He couldn't understand where I was coming from. He just couldn't. He just I could tell that he just wasn't. Maybe he wasn't ready to listen, or just not. I'm not sure what it was, but it was clear that he was not receptive. So I just aborted mission. Abort mission. Just leave it alone. I told him, I said, um, carry on, carry on believing your God. Yesterday, yesterday on my live stream, someone came on there and said, if he didn't have God, he'd be out there just destroying things and destroying people and all this. And I said, listen,
That's a sign
if
of a
you need
psychopath.
if you need your God to be a good person, please hold on to your God. You definitely need God. You
Yeah,
need.
but those people will find an excuse to do their dirtiest anyway, and use that God as an excuse for what they do. For example,
Mm,
shooting up a pride parade or something. God sent them to do it.
shooting up a pride parade. Has that kind of thing happened? Has anybody gone to shoot at a pride parade?
Oh, there's been incidents in Jerusalem a few years ago. There was this crazy Orthodox Jew who went on a stabbing spree. He ultimately killed I think a 16-year-old woman.
Wow, wow.
Oh, there's been violence, or religious
Yeah,
violence,
that.
for no reason other than they're
Mm,
angry. I don't know. They're angry. Whatever the hell they're trying to keep. They're closeted somehow, and they're
Well, when you look at
they're
it,
raged.
realistically, if the NFIB, or the not the NFIB, those terrible people who follow the Bible
The
to the letter,
I found out what it was. New
new
fundamental
fundamentalist.
independent Baptists.
Yeah, if
Can
you
you believe that? Can you fucking believe that? There's no shortage of religions in America, and guess what? A new group is formed.
okay.
well,
The
they've been around
fuck?
since I think 2017 or somewhere around there. But then when they first
Yeah,
came into prominence, because they were around before that, but they were called something else, I think.
what the hell are they really? I mean, that's the Smoky Saint and
Well,
crew.
they're Bible literalists,
Stupid,
and
stupid,
but
stupid,
I don't
stupid.
see them going out and killing people, so at least that's a good thing. I mean, they're not that literal. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
right,
So
right.
at least they're not taking action on what they believe, because if they're doing it in other ways, though, like they tried all this stuff with the insurrection and with Trump being appointed by God, and they're like trying to get then like enter to the government somehow. They're always trying to jump in, but they're in there anyway. I mean, look at that congresswoman. I forget her name. Um, but she's like a lunatic. She's a lunatic Christian. She's saying things
Oh, Anne Marie, the one from Georgia or whatever.
she's saying things
And
in the middle
yes,
of Congress that are just like, why don't we just turn the mic off? But they have to let her talk. They
right.
don't they can't turn the
Is
mic
it
off and say,
is it
okay, sit
Marjorie?
down,
Is
sit
it
down.
Marjorie? Is it Marjorie Green? I think.
Ma,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
her.
yeah. That's her. That's her.
That's the woman. Yeah, she's a lunatic. I mean, people
Marjorie
listen to
Green.
that. How could you believe that?
She
How could
actually
she act?
stood up in Congress and said that evolution is a lie, or
Oh yes, she
or
did.
this or whatever the hell she is. She a senator or a congresswoman.
Yeah,
I don't know.
she's a congresswoman.
Okay, she stood up and said that that evolution is a lie. I couldn't believe it when I was actually watched the clip.
It's like ludicrous. And then I hear this other thing about how Christians say that, oh, abortions, there's more atheists. This guy, Matt Powell, says, oh, more atheists are having abortions every day, blah, blah, blah. And he's taking the statistics and he's flipping them around. Because, like, how could that be? How could the statistics say that the minority of people are the ones that are doing the most of everything?
Well, look, when you're of the opinion that science supports creationism, you can take any data and flip them exactly how you want to, because you could take your conclusion and then find any data you want and massage it until you find the right outcome.
Well, if you're part of the majority, guess what? You're going to be part of that statistics, or the majority, that statistic, you're going to be part of that, and you're going to be the majority of that statistic as well, because you're the majority of the population.
I find it quite amazing that somebody like Matt Powell would stoop down to general statistics when he preaches a personal relationship with a non-existent imaginary God.
Yeah, it's almost like, it's ridiculous. But he took the statistics and flipped them. He flipped them around, and it's actually everything he said is opposite of what he actually said. So it's like, what? It's like unbelievable what he does. It lies to people, tells people that the government should execute gays and lesbians. It's like,
do you think he really believes it, or do you think he's just doing it because
he's doing it because he's part of the religion?
It's controversial, and he's got to make a living, and the only way he can make a living is through this.
He's got a dog in the fight called money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly
a big
what
dog.
I'm saying.
That's a big dog, man.
That's the only dog that counts in America.
That's true. That's right. And plus he's got that way about him where he's convincing. And if you're like a simple-minded person, you'll believe him. You will.
He's got to be like, he's got to have that dog eat dog mentality. In order to win. That's how you win in America.
Well, he's got to be able to push the dogma and make it sound palatable, And he does that because he's got the look, and he's got the way he talks. He's the whole package.
I watched a video of him being
pulled. Whole package.
I watched a video last night of him being pulled apart. I can't remember. It'll be in my history. Him being pulled apart by what he said, or at what he said. The guy is an absolute. The guy is he's a lispy, uneducated ignoramus. But he's young, so he can learn. Hopefully.
Well, I wouldn't say that about him, but
I know, because you didn't watch what I watched. You didn't watch what I watched.
No, I didn't.
I'm just kidding.
I didn't. You're right.
Esther, are you still there?
But I saw him.
I'm still here.
Oh, good.
My phone text message kept coming in, so I turned my volume off so I didn't interrupt Sam.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry, I just needed to do a welfare check on Esther there.
But it's funny. Sydney, are you were you weren't a Christian or a believer, were you at one point?
No, never.
No. Why do you say
I'm one of the lucky ones.
Wait. Why did you say it like that?
Because it was I believe by design it was kept from me. The whole, how when you indoctrinate little kids, when you get them young, you can pretty much be very well. They didn't get me because my parents didn't allow any religion in the house. they were of the opinion that, if you want to learn religion, go learn it at school. And I went to a secular school which didn't teach religion. And so I didn't learn about God. I didn't get indoctrinated with God at the secular school. So it wasn't until I was maybe 12 or so until I was actually introduced to the because I went to a secular Jewish school. I learned Hebrew for 6 years until they introduced me to reading the Bible itself. But there was no indoctrination. It was just reading it and understanding how to translate it from the Hebrew into the English as a matter of learning the language and stuff, the history and whatnot. So I was never ever indoctrinated with there is a God until I actually saw this and read this Genesis. And Genesis 1, the one I always talk about, because that's the God's spirit floating on top of the whatever. I didn't buy that. I didn't buy that from the second I read that.
I get all that, but it's like I asked you, hey Sydney, you want to drink some bleach? And you went, oh no, I don't want to drink bleach. That's your reaction. When I asked you, were you ever a believer or a Christian? You went, oh no, I was never. You made the same reaction as if I asked you, would you want to drink some bleach?
Because like I say, it's abusive. It's abusive. It's dangerous. It's ugly. It's a submissive. It's undignified. It strips you of your humanity and your humanism. It's almost like it's an insult to ask me if I was ever a Christian. How could I ever? It's like, were you ever a Nazi?
Well, they say the same thing about us.
Well, fuck them.
Well, you see, that's what I'm saying.
What?
They see us the same way we see them. When you just said that, you just said those things. I've been told I'm the same way by people in my own family, and they're Christians.
Boy, they still talk to you. Mine don't.
So I'm like, what the heck? But
exactly.
But I don't say that to them because I know that when I point a finger and say something to somebody, there's three more fingers pointing back at me. So I have to realize that that's me too. That's me too.
Damn.
It's me too. Am I breaking up?
I think someone said something a few days ago saying that you can easily become the very thing you're fighting against if you're not careful.
Sure.
In a bid try and get people to see things and to open their eyes, you might end up becoming close-minded yourself and narrow-minded, and seeing things only from your perspective and not allowing yourself to empathize and to put yourself in their shoes. What do you think about that?
That's a perfect example. Yeah. I agree with that. Well, you take all these people, well, there's not too many. I say that like there's a lot of them, like Smokey Saint and Jesus is Lord and the Veckel and Brett Keane and all, there's a couple other people. You take those guys.
G-Man.
G-Man, right? Oh, I had a point. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, let's just go through all these Christians. Okay, let's gather them together. You got
Shani.
You got Shani. You got Jason. You got Gary Milne.
There was somebody I've heard of recently. Von Helton. Von Helton. Is he?
Von. He's a. I think he's a pagan.
It looks like his channel's been taken down by YouTube.
Oh, right. Okay,
looks like
Sydney.
His channel's gone.
Is it gone?
Yeah.
Well, I
I believe everyone should have a voice, even though what they're saying might sound terrible to me. But it doesn't matter what I think sounds terrible. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I agree. I agree to
yeah,
an extent. Look at Shani and Rev. I've never really met people like those two. I've never met Christians
yeah.
like those two. It was good to see them for the little time. I only just caught them just before the channel was taken down.
Hmm.
It was good to see that kind of life, to see people who claim to be Christians and living like that. But
Was
then,
was
oh
their channel taken down? Shani
yeah,
and Rev?
yes, 3 channels in one day,
Wow.
and in their case, there was abuse,
Yeah.
alleged child abuse
Hmm.
going on, which you could hear in the background. Rev telling Shani's kids, "I'm going to beat you.
Well,
I'm going."
if you've seen the photos that circulated throughout the internet and the video that accompanied them, it's clearly abuse. It's clearly.
What photos? Which photos are you talking
Oh,
about?
there were photos of the bathroom that the
Oh yeah,
children
yeah.
had to use. There were photos
Mm-hmm.
of the hallway
Mm-hmm.
outside the bathroom, and there were photos of the children's room,
Mm-hmm.
which didn't
And
look like a room. You know what it looked like? It looked like a storage shed, like
refuse dump.
yeah, like a storage shed with
Yeah.
boxes and containers and bags, and it's like
Mm-hmm. There wasn't just
that
child
wasn't a
abuse,
bedroom.
also animal abuse. Did you see the cat? Did you see the cat litter?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh my goodness! I'm glad you didn't see it. It was really bad. It was
Well,
really bad.
thanks. Thanks for protecting me from that.
So
I'm only
yeah,
kidding.
I mean, times like that, of course, they need to be taken away from. 'Cause it was clear that they lived for the attention, they lived for the publicity, they lived for just being on YouTube and all of that. For people like that, of course,
Mm.
you got to shut them down. Come on.
Well, yeah. Well, she had a lot of followers. So where do all those people go now?
Well, they go somewhere else.
They go some. They follow some other.
They go to G-Man.
Yeah. Or they'll start hanging out with what's his face?
She's on apparently she's on Twitch and is it Twitch and Instagram now. So
No, they'll join Dragnot Silva's channel.
and then when you have to support them by sending what's it called, PayPal, no, what was it, PayPal and stuff, and you can tell that these people were on drugs. So if you're sending money to them, how much of that money is going to the kids?
Yeah, you don't know.
You don't know.
No one knows.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows. I don't even think they know.
No,
But
they don't.
no, I don't know.
Mm. Oh well. What part of the world are you in, Jill Sam?
I'm in the southwest of the United States in Arizona.
Oh, right, nice.
It's like a heat wave over here right now.
Right. And
Like,
over where Sydney is at, there's a heat wave over there too.
oh, is there? Oh, yeah, it's getting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all this.
It's been in the news in Canada. And they've had a really bad heat wave.
Yeah, I know it's happening all over the globe. You know that round thing we live on?
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was flat.
Huh? Yeah, it is in some
I thought it
places.
was flat.
Yeah, it is. In some places it's flat. Yeah, it seems flat. Yeah.
Okay. So were you religious, Josam?
No, I wasn't brought up with religion. No. So
Aren't you lucky?
huh?
Aren't you lucky?
What? Say that again.
Aren't you lucky?
Oh, am I lucky? I
You
don't
are
feel.
lucky.
I don't feel lucky.
No, I think you are.
I sometimes actually feel left out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that's because that's the way God planned it. It's all God's plan for me to be left
God,
out.
God's wonderful plan.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, if I don't believe and I was never being taught religion and it's all God's plan, I guess that's the plan. It was the plan
Yeah.
for me to be an atheist
Mm-hmm.
from birth.
Wow.
Uh, yeah? No? So how does that work?
Let me tell you. If
So
you
hey,
feel, if
I
you feel left out, I can understand because when
sometimes.
you're in a community, most of the people have left religion and they're telling their stories. You haven't got those stories, but then
No, I
it
don't.
is hard. It is really hard to come away from religion and to for
Yeah.
me it felt like a loss of identity.
Do you
It
f-
felt like
do you feel that you've replaced a community yet, or do you still miss that community?
I haven't replaced the community yet. No,
Do you still miss
I'm still
the old tea parties and
not
I don't know,
really.
baking
No,
contests, whatever?
they're a couple of people. There are a couple of people that I really love their company. That's what I miss. I don't really miss
Why
the.
can't you connect with them beyond the church if you like their company?
I can, but they always try to. Oh, love to see you in church. You're
Oh, okay, they like zombie
you're
women.
always
Yeah.
you're always welcome here. Even though you don't believe anymore, you can still come and we're
What
just
is
a
what is a what is there a woman's excuse for believing in a uh, male misogynist patriarchal anti-woman god?
I don't know.
What was yours?
Well, it was a male dominated society I lived in. It was very misogynistic and
But who
very
who decided
pa-
that the
pa-
males were going to dominate the
pa-
society?
patriarchal.
Patriarchal.
That's the word. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but whose decision was it for the society to be patriarchal?
It was
I don't know.
God's decision.
Ah,
Notice I
okay.
pointed down.
I noticed. I noticed.
Oh. No, but usually when they say God, they point upwards.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Well, it doesn't matter. Either way, it doesn't exist.
I don't know.
Doesn't.
Up, down, it's all relative. I mean, we're on a spinning ball, aren't
Yeah.
we?
True.
Just like
True.
just like when I was young, we were taught that heaven is above and hell is
It makes sense to point down because at least towards the center of the earth there's a focal point that you're pointing to. If you're pointing down, when you point up, you're not pointing up at anything.
Could be anywhere, right?
It's nowhere.
At least I got
Yeah, down is towards the earth, and it's going to land up at a focal point in the center somewhere. That's where your God is.
Boy, you really encapsulated that well.
Thank you.
Apparently, this God is everywhere. So he's not up, he's not down, he's
Yeah, he's even in your underwear.
Yeah, and
How can he be in my imagination and my underwear at the
right
same
there,
time?
he knows
God, this
everything.
is God working in mysterious ways.
He
Yeah, you
knows
can't.
everything you're thinking, even before you think it. He knows it, and he knows when you're
Damn,
having
he's good.
when you're having sex,
Oh,
what sexual position,
oh,
what
oh, that's
yeah
embarrassing. Oh, fuck, that's
yeah.
Really?
embarrassing.
Oh,
I am always gonna, even if I use a blanket, cover
He's
myself with a
always
blanket.
watching. He's inside the blankets.
Ah, don't be ridiculous.
I feel bad for God.
Please tell me God's a female, please.
Imagine having to be in everybody's bedroom. Like, wow.
No wonder there's people starving and bloody, not being
Ah,
taken care of by God because God's a bit of a perv. He's more interested in your
he's too
bedroom
busy
than in,
watching
fixing the,
He's
the
out there with
ills
his
of
God
humanity.
binoculars. Oh, look what they're doing. Oh, look what they're
Which
doing.
explains,
Oh, look
which
at
explains the, which explains the Christian,
at
the
this.
Christians. I don't know. Every time they join a conversation and bring in their Christianity and their morals, they go straight to the male anus. What is with that?
Yeah, I don't know.
They just want to. They just want to go there right away and talk about it.
Because they're
it's the source of life.
that can be, I guess, yeah.
According to
No,
them,
I
that's
think
the
that they're. I think they're just very, very repressed.
Well,
they
yeah,
are.
I was gonna
They
say
are.
that's part of the. If you repress something, that's a natural kind of innate kind of thing. That's
That's
like
they all bring it up.
sexuality.
They all bring it up in a way,
Yes.
in certain way.
It's always going to be on the forefront of your mind and in
Mhm.
everything because you're
Mhm.
trying to keep yourself from addressing it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that it's so prevalent amongst the Christians that it kind of hits you as it stands out.
Yeah, it's like, hey, guy, why don't you just own up to your sexuality? And they're like, oh, I can't do that.
I don't think
You
it's
know-
even that much. I just want to know what is it that you're thinking about.
Fuck, man.
Yeah,
I
where's
don't
your
know,
mind?
man.
Where's your mind when you bring it up in the first place?
But then they do the same thing to us. They call us perverts for actually expressing our sexuality.
Yes, they do.
Well,
I've had somebody-
go ahead,
I've had
Esther.
somebody tell me. I've had somebody tell me that the reason I decided to be an atheist is because I wanted to live a sinful life. I wanted to have all forms of sexual escapades, and
But who
what
doesn't?
was it?
You can want.
You want to become you want to become a lesbian.
There you go. You might as well want it
Why
all.
you become an atheist? I'm like, oh
Yeah, you want it all, baby.
it's always sex on their minds.
Always. That's right.
When I was growing up, the church I went to was they were very strict, very strict. Women were not allowed to have their hair uncovered. They had to wear, like the way the Amish dress.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the sort of code.
Well, they dress for the weather, don't they?
Yeah.
Kind of like
You-
black
you-
and white with ties and funny hats.
Yeah.
and-
Yes,
Yeah.
you could not
Cute little
expose
bonnets.
yourself.
They wear knickers too. They wear like knickers, stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
But they probably wear
somehow-
bikinis inside at home.
bikinis.
No, well, that
I don't know. I bet you they do. Those
somehow,
kinky
which-
Amish.
what Geo Sam was saying, somehow there's always a sex scandal in the church. The choir master is sleeping with 2-3 ladies in the church, or a married man sleeping with one of the young ladies in the church. There was always one sex scandal or another, and I'm thinking, these are the people that are supposed to not even be thinking about sex at all. It shouldn't even be part of shouldn't be part of their for
The
some
doctrine, the
reason,
dogma, and because it is part of the dogma,
Yeah.
it attracts
so
it. It's
prevalent.
yeah. And you're right. It shouldn't be part of it. If it wasn't part of it, it wouldn't be an issue. Even if
Well,
it
it's
happens, it wouldn't be an issue. But because it's a dogma, it brings a guilt factor into it, and it just fucks life. It just fucks people up.
well, they're people who are put in positions where they're given authority over vulnerable people, and
Yes.
that's terrible, because the people look at these individuals as role models and as an authority figure. What they say, they want to believe. You know, they want these people. They put them on a pedestal, and they want these people to be their truth for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that these people get away with what they get away with, abusing children, abusing women, and altar boys, and who knows what else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Which proves to
And the
me,
thing
like I
is,
said
in
before, excuse
Africa,
me, Esther,
in
excuse me, I
okay,
just want to say that all this, all this abuse by all these people in authority who are pretty much representing the goodness of God to their victims before they victimize
Yeah.
them, proves to me that God does not exist, because even those who profess to believe in this God of retribution don't believe in the bullshit either by their actions. Carry on, Esther. I'm sorry.
no, so in Africa, I can't speak for the whole of Africa, but I know it's common. It's a common thing. Um, so a person can just decide. A person like me, you, Geosam, right? We can
Mm-hmm.
just have a brilliant idea and decide I want to become a pastor or a church leader, right? Just go learn a few scriptures, read a few books, watch a few videos, and come and announce myself as God sent. You know, many don't go to any seminary school or theology school.
Oh,
They
yeah, I
just
got it on my
declare
computer as well.
themselves.
Thanks.
They declare themselves a leader. They'll say things like, "I had a dream, and God appeared to me, and God, uh, and God told me I'm supposed to be a pastor." You know. So how do
Mm-hmm.
you control?
Well, I think, tell you what I think. I think Google Meet has a time limit. And if you want more time, you have to pay for it. Ooh, this changes the game. Anyway, with that, with Google Meet having come to a rather abrupt end, I would like to say a very, I'd like to, here we go, say a very big thank you to everybody who participated in the chat. I would also like to say thank you face to face to everybody who participated in the chat. We will be going live, or I will be going live with something soon, and I just want to end by saying that this was rather a disappointing end created by our friends at Google Meet. Not very nice. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon. I just want to end by saying that this was rather a disappointing end created by our friends at Google Meet. Not very nice. Thanks again for watching.